the more content you write, the sooner you cover. I'm a big fan of topic clusters. The sooner you cover a topic cluster and you move on the next one. So you build topical authority, which is, I think, very important for both users and Google, right?
Before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor for this episode, Ahrefs. Ahrefs provides you with an all-in-one SEO toolset that does everything from rank tracking to backlink analysis, keyword research, and technical audits. The best part, you can now use Ahrefs Webmaster Tools for free to identify and prioritize optimization opportunities for your website, see all the keywords that your web pages are ranking for, take a close look at the websites that link back to and refer you in their content, and analyze other websites to find out what drives their rankings. Visit ahrefs.com/AWT and sign up for free. And now, back to today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SaaS SEO Show. I'm your host, George Kassiotis, and today I'm very excited to be joined by Dimitris Drakatos. Formerly at UK fintech unicorn Revolut, since October 2020, Dimitris has been leading all the SEO and ASO work at Peanut, the app connecting like-minded women through fertility, pregnancy, motherhood, and menopause. Dimitris is one of the co-authors of Mastering In-House SEO Second Edition, a Reforge alumnus, a speaker at several SEO conferences like Brighton SEO and MeasureFirst, a mentor at Growth Mentor, and a judge at the Drum Awards for Search. Dimitris, welcome to the show.
Hi, George. Hi, guys. It's really a pleasure being among you. Have been seeing the show sometimes, hear the show, like I'm very excited being part and sharing any of my knowledge, any of my experiences with you. I'm more than open to answer to any of your questions, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a great, insightful discussion.
I'm sure about that as well. So let's get started. But before we do, I would really like to know some things about you. If you could share a couple of things about you and your journey so far, it would be nice just so people know what has brought you to where you are today.
Well, I'll start with what I say my first introduction to SEO world. It was around 10 years ago when I actually got my first job as an editor in a news media website. It was then when I saw that, actually what you can write or what you can edit on a website, it could be on the first page of Google. So, you can see your piece of content signing. So I tried to learn more about it. And then, I stumbled upon SEO. For the first years, have been, moving on different positions around digital marketing. However, like on the past around 7 years, I have been focused on SEO. I think the company that really, changed my way of thinking and, moving from just local Greek SEO digital marketing to more global was Workable. When I joined Workable in 2018, beginning of 2018. So I've been working for Workable. At some point, I felt that I need to, let's say, test my skills in a more global landscape. I had a dream always to work abroad and live abroad for some years. And then the Revolut opportunity came. Probably you all know Revolut is among the top scale-ups unicorns in Europe and the world. So I relocated 2019. I relocated to London for Revolut, and now after 3 years, have been also changed another job. I'm currently leading all things around SEO and ASO at Peanut. And from this journey, what I've learned is like it's very important to chase your dreams, be very open-minded, I've learned so many things on my career in different companies I have worked with just because I try to be open-minded, and maybe people think that they know everything, but at the end, at the end of the day, there are some skills that you don't have, and everything is too important. So I dare you to chase your dreams, and
Yeah,
you know,
that's definitely
move away from your comfort zone. This is my motto: move away from your comfort zone.
that's a good one. That's a good one. Now let's get right into it. You've managed to grow Peanuts organic traffic from 0 to 2.5 last time I checked, million organics per month, according to Ahrefs at least. And my first question would be, it's something that I was wondering, have you noticed a correlation between increasing the website's organic visibility and getting more visibility on the App Store directly or indirectly? Have you noticed any correlations there?
Yeah. So yeah, I can confirm, that the number you're seeing on Ahrefs is like pretty aligned with Google Analytics. We've seen actually, and it was kind of a recent report that I had with the company. Like we've seen a spike in trend on both, branded terms, and also app downloads. The app downloads are kind of, mostly throughout the whole journey of, this exponential growth, organic exponential growth. But for the branded terms, the recent 3 to 4 months, we've seen that there was a big spike. Although we haven't done much out of home campaigns, so it was kind of a matter of like more eyes seeing on a daily basis our website, our brand. We need to do a lot more things in terms of like describing what is Peanut, making them understand like how we could what we actually are, how we can support women especially. But even now we've seen a really big spike on branded terms and awareness in total without spending many big amount of money on out of home campaigns, at least for the past 4 to 6 months.
Okay, that makes sense. One thing that I noticed, and I really liked, by the way, we may steal that for our own clients, is the way you structure your posts on Peanut's blog, especially the fact that you have very relevant in-post call to actions. For example, in a post about, I think it was baby poop or something like that.
Yeah.
You have a CTA that reads more than 3,800 women are talking about baby poop, this specific topic on Peanut. Download the app to join the conversation. And I found this to be brilliant, first of all. And I would like to know whether or not you have seen that, having topically relevant CTAs actually helps in terms of getting new people at the door, getting signups. And also whether or not starting the journey from a blog post and then being directed through a topically relevant CTA helps overall in the customer journey and offering a better, I would say, customer experience for your users and customers.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first year was mostly because we didn't have anything before in terms of data. It was mostly on building our content, on building a strategy that could, a very solid strategy that could translate, to growth in general. This has happened, and once we have seen, the early signs of this strategy actually becoming more and more aggressive, we thought that it's time for us also to think on the second stage, which could be the CRO, the conversion rate optimization. We have tested, like at the beginning, another pain point was that had lack of resources, so we didn't have much internal support. Like most of our engineering team was focused on the actual product, the app. However, and this is, I think, another case study is like the growth that we brought created the demand and the appetite to build also a lighter version of the app on the web, and at the same time build a dedicated web team. Once we had this web team, like 2 web engineers, a front-end designer, a product owner specifically, to help with uh, anything that connects web and the app. Like untightened our hairs, our hands, sorry, to perform experiments and A/B tests. So we tried a lot of different, assumptions, and what we actually saw that is performing really good, as you may have noticed, is like trying to create, of course, on an automated way, custom call to actions based on the topic, based on the topic relevancy. This will be, instead of just download peanut, it would be like, or like join a group. It was like, there are X number. To be honest, this number is not that accurate, but we're working on them just to give you transparency. But, feel, very close to the product, because it's not just a guide for a question, a query you have, but it's also like a way to introduce you to the product and how the product could actually answer your problems, which is, at the end of the day, it's not just bringing traffic, but also converting at least a decent amount of it. And number wise, we've seen that just in 3 to 4 months, we managed to move like around, to increase our conversion rate around 2.5%, which is great, especially if we think that, the numbers of visitors is huge. Like, so the next challenge, like, to increase even more this conversion rate, and at the same time increase the traffic, so have this simultaneous increase that would ideally generate the perfect combination.
That's brilliant, and I really like this strategy. And as I mentioned, we may have to steal it and use it.
Yeah,
for some of our clients as well.
I'm pretty sure. Like, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that it was probably stolen from another company. Like we try to have bring some ideas like on the table and see, like, big brands are doing this, so we're kind of sharing thoughts. And one thing that I had from Revolut, and it's good that Peanut guys also share kind of the same philosophies. Like, I want to test everything and quantify any decision I make. So I try not to have like assumptions only, but quantify everything, and take data-driven decisions, because at the end of the day, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, of course, I agree with you. Speaking of content, I have the feeling that writing for such a sensitive topic, pregnancy and motherhood, is not easy. I don't know exactly if this can be considered your money, your life. I guess that you know that better.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed is that what you do to establish trust with your readers, and I can only assume with search engines as well, is to include a message at the bottom of every post that reads, "Special thanks to Dr. Name for fact-checking this article," which is something that we have seen in other Your Money, Your Life websites as well. And I really love that. And I really think that this is a great way to establish trust between you and your audience, your readers. Is there anything else that you do and that you've seen work and you can share with us in that context?
Well, to be honest, this was again, when we started, it's we're a startup. We need to move faster. So fact check and medically review everything that we write was like a stage 2 or 3, just like the conversion rate optimization. What we have seen is just like a small portion of the work. Like by the end of this year, our aim is like to have all of our content either fact checked or like medically reviewed. I think this adds a big authority on the content you write. I wouldn't consider, at least not the majority of the content in your life, at least for Peanut, but there are some very sensitive topics, and there are like some topics that are like more medically related, scientific related. So I think at the beginning we were kind of like thinking, okay, how we could approach this, or like maybe it's not something that we could write, because again, we're working with both external and in-house people. So all of us are not doctors, but having someone to overview it definitely increase the authority. And the next step is like to introduce podcasts. We name them pods, but it's podcasts and groups that are like from experts. So at that point, like the Peanut 2.0 is like having a lighter web version, and having experts on their field who are part of the community. So you can actually, buy some of their services. You can tip them, once they have their live podcast. And at the same time, they could either write or like, medically review some of our resources, which, will make our content more, trustful.
Yeah, I like that. And I would like to see taking things to the next stage with regards to that. One thing that I noticed, since we are talking about content and producing content, is that you have an impressively high publishing velocity for Peanut's blog. Right now, last time I checked at least, you had more than 1,300 blog posts on your blog, which is impressive, okay? Especially if you consider the fact that most of these were published in the last year or so. And I'd like to know how your process looks like, what kind of on-page, let's say, optimization checkpoints you have in place, and what kind of checkpoints you have to ensure quality at such a big scale.
Cool. Yeah. Just to give you some clue, our first blog article, like the blog itself, was launched about end of October 2020, like when like 2 weeks after I joined Peanut. And our first piece of content, SEO focused content, was published end of November, beginning of December 2020. So around like 1 and 3 months before ago. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Like, let me give you some background insights. When I joined, like, there was nothing being done in terms of SEO. It was just a website with like a marketing website with just 3-4 landing pages, and as I said before, like even not a blog. And our search competitors have been investing in SEO for several years. They have much bigger domain authority and a strong SEO team. So the big bet for us was like how we could close this big gap in a short period of time. At that time, what I my strategy, my approach was like to use publishing velocity It was actually a case study that presented on the last Brighton SEO, and actually it worked. So probably you have seen it. I know that Ahrefs are already sponsoring your show. I'm in love with Ahrefs, like it's my go-to tool. So good that they're also sponsoring this show. So they recently introduced a metric that's called traffic potential, right? So before they actually introduced it, I was using it for my reports, and just to give more clue on people that may haven't heard this, is just like imagine that you have a keyword, the target keyword you want to rank. So you just go, you search on the Keyword Explorer, you see the first result for this given keyword, and then you hit on the site Explorer, and you kind of see the total traffic this first result for the given keyword gets. Because even if you optimize, let's say, for baby poop, the landing page won't rank just for baby poop, but for several hundreds or even thousands of keywords. Like I have written, I'm not a writer, I have written a job offer templates or examples, I don't remember, article back in Workable 3 years ago, and it's like ranking, thousands of keywords, right? So you get this number, and imagine like if you cover 5 keywords, you have like a traffic potential of X. If you cover like 50 keywords, you increase the traffic potential. That have a success rate, and by success I mean being on the first page of like 20% on the first scenario, on the first case. This means that you get, like, if we're talking about, let's say, 1,000 total traffic potential, you get 200, let's say, monthly traffic. If you increase your traffic potential, although probably your success rate would be decreased, at the end of the day, the plain number would be more. So this is like the first thing that I use to pitch my strategy. The second thing is like the sooner, the more content you write, the sooner you cover. I'm a big fan of topic clusters. The sooner you cover a topic cluster, you move on the next one. So you build topical authority, which is, I think, very important for both users and Google, right? So if Google sees, for example, like one of our unlockers was baby names, we try to cover everything around baby names. We still have stuff to write about, but we kind of established our position around the top websites for someone that someone could visit to take inspiration about how to name their babies. We try to do it for several other topics, right? In some topics we had success, in some not, and we're kind of revisiting. But I guess in this case, using publishing velocity, we managed to build authority super fast, and also close this big gap. The question about like how to, let's say, ensure that the quality, at the beginning we started around like publishing 30 to 40 articles on a monthly basis. We had a framework where part of the process before making the each article live was someone from the brand team to ensure that what we say is correct, and also it's aligned with the values and the brand identity. After that, we've seen that once we increased a lot, once we ramped up our efforts in content creation, we saw that and it made sense that the guy who was the girl who was responsible to give the final sign off didn't have time to see all this content, to check all this content. So we said like, okay, we're gonna skip this, but only once we reach a level where our agency and the in-house person were in almost perfect level of no mistakes, no edits, nothing. So I think being consistent with the people you onboard and you use is very crucial. So if you try to have to find the cheaper option and you change writers or agencies every once per month, you will end up having consistency and no freedom in terms of being flexible and efficient in quality checks. If you keep consistency and you have you onboard people that you trust, people you have worked with, people that you have already proven their skills, then it will save you time. And of course, I think being proactive and having a content calendar, not just for the next 1 or 2 weeks, but for at least a quarter ahead proactively, it would save you time. And I always tend to create an SEO brief for each keyword. I try to have to have an overview of each keyword, do a short analysis of the SERPs and see what the top result look like, either if it's a list or it's a VS or what's the difference or whatever. I think I'm not saying just copy what others do, but it's a clear indication of what users and search engines prefer to see on the top spots. And once you have this, it will help you build a brief where you have your keywords. I'm always chasing the people also ask questions, and everything around feature snippets, trying to get as much of portion you can from the search results, plus make the writer understand your approach, how you imagine the text structure, the article structure. And this, although at the beginning it will you will spend a lot of time, at the end of the day you'll have less back and forth, and you'll have a draft that is pretty close to what you were imagining. So at the end of the day you will have more time and less friction.
Yeah, that sounds very good, and thanks for explaining. Do you face, follow up to that would be, do you face any issues, indexation issues, like by publishing so much content?
Yeah, good question. So to be honest, one problem that we were facing once we started working with actually with the blog and publishing content was just because we didn't have any authority there. We have seen that Google was kind of indexing our blog sitemap every week or so. So it wasn't that often. Once we have increased our content production and we actually increased the total number of posts, I've seen that, this 1 week to 10 days reduced to 3-4 days. Now it's daily. But because we have a community at the app and we try to have some of the user-generated content on the web, I'm fighting a lot, and I'm kind of a pain in the ass for the product people. Very strict to which UGC is being indexed, not being live, but being indexed. I'm trying to regulate and control, because imagine that right now we don't have any issues, but if you don't control your content that is being indexed and offered to Google, you will fall into two big issues, and this was the case for us as well: keyword cannibalization and crawl budget. So I have seen that before scaling the content and before controlling the UGC, we were kind of competing ourselves, and we had UGC posts that were talking randomly for the same content, that we were trying to rank with, a paid and well-structured blog post. So what we did was like, let's see of the existing UGC posts, which of them actually competes with the blog. And also after that, by default, anything is like no indexed. And, once we say yes, it gets indexed. And sorry, and crawl budget wise, going from 3 to 4K pages to, I don't know, have like around 50 or 100K posts, it will definitely destroy um, um, all of our work, because like at the end of the day, we will have, a million of pages, and probably, the most important ones will probably getting indexed like every once a while, not as often as we want. So at the moment, we don't have any issues, but I'm fighting for this.
And I hope that you never will. I guess my last question would be, we discussed content creation. We haven't discussed content ideation. You mentioned earlier topic clusters and trying to go after a topic, and then after covering this topic and establishing yourself for this topic, I guess possibly going after the next one. I'd like to know how your content ideation process looks like, and how even from the very beginning you structured content strategy in your mind, like these are the topics that we need to build authority and become, like as much visible for as possible. I'd like to learn a few things about your logic and the process that you're following, and also what drives the strategy, and what has driven the strategy since day one.
Cool. So I think at the beginning, as said before, it was kind of, a bit, we didn't have any data, right? So this was very, very chaotic, like where to choose from. I'm a big fan of, along with the keyword research, perform a competitor research. Like there are some, keyword ideas that are pretty obvious once you look at, competitors' websites. So, in order to just, have an idea, have a clue of where to start, search competitors could be a go-to thing. For me, in order to prioritize, I try always to cluster the keywords in, let's say, 3 pillars. The one is like, low-hanging fruits. So keywords that are cannot be clustered, they're more individual, but combine a decent keyword difficulty. So anything, this is also, depending on your domain authority, but assuming that, you have a domain authority of like 57, we have for Peanut. I'm taking anything below 25 to 30, maximum 30 keyword difficulty. And decent monthly search is, let's say, 200 or 300, starting from 300. Because, even if you are like the top result and you have a CTR of around 30%, if you have like 10 monthly searches, this translates to 3 clicks. Unless it's a keyword saying like, how to buy the full package of Minutia. Doesn't make sense, to at least start from this long-tailed keyword. The second pillar is like the clustered ones. So, topic clusters, starting with the pillar page, cluster pages, etc. And the third one is like the branded ones. For Eval, we had so many branded, so it made sense. For Peanut, we didn't have many, but still, the intent is pretty high. So anything like that could, let's say, you can leverage in order to drive more, installs or sales or whatever. It's a no-brainer for you to optimize. So again, I think it's a matter of like prioritization, like how you prioritize the keywords. I do this prioritization, and also like think of the product. Like for Peanut, we have like the life stages, so it's like, you know, no brainer for me, you know, to start uh, based on the personas, to start, you know, doing the keyword research based on the life stage. So we have fertility, which is getting pregnant, pregnancy, motherhood, menopause, which was, you know, once the last life stage of the life stages that we have added, lifestyle, this type of stuff. After, you know, like at the beginning there were so many keywords, so I tried to, you know, prioritize based on the model that I described. After that, you know, I get inspiration from talks happening inside the app. Like I get some feedback from product people. Like, you know, I've seen that there's a lot of demand on the sex side that I didn't think of, you know, as a potential like or a hot topic. So this one, forums and all this stuff, yes, but honestly, at the stage that we are, we have a lot of keywords unwritten, although, you know, we have written a lot of content that I haven't reached this layer of depth. But yeah, I do believe that, you know, Reddit or other, you know, forums could be a great source of inspiration for you, you know, once you reach a plateau of keywords.
Yeah, okay.
Ideas.
I like that. And I had a similar conversation with other SEO professionals as well, especially about Reddit, how it can be. And we are using it, by the way, as well, when we are doing keyword and audience research for our clients, how it can be a great source of inspiration. So thanks for sharing that. We are
And
running.
core, right?
Yeah,
And core.
core as well. I agree with you. We are running over time, but before we wrap things up, I would like to ask what do you feel, because you are in the space for many, many years now, and I would like to know just a brief comment on the future of SEO and ASO. What do you think the future holds?
Well, I think for SEO, what I've seen, you know, unless something really strange happen, or like, you know, the World War III, I know, like we're living in unprecedented time. I think, you know, the demand will grow. Like I think like COVID was an unlocker for us as well, for the SEO professionals. Companies have seen that, you know, it doesn't make sense to depend only on paid stuff. And anyone who has invested in SEO and in creating evergreen content was among the winners there once, you know, the budgets were suspended. So I think this has created a huge demand for our business. And this is like what generates a lot of competition. So I think, you know, demand and competition. So the more demand, the more competition. So as Peanut, for example, yeah, we appeared, we did this boom, but I'm pretty sure at some point there will be one or two guys like me working for a company like Peanut and try to, you know, conquer the results. So yeah, I would say demand, huge demand. Like I don't see that the foreseeable future, like 1-2 years, it will be a decrease on the appetite for businesses to work with either in-house or agency SEOs, but also like the competition to grow. Uh, I would say like, but just, you know, as a joke that, you know, voice search and all this stuff, like people are mentioning, you know, voice search is like something that, you know, every time, you know, every time that I'm reading some stuff about like what's the future, like I see, you know, people saying like, oh, voice search is like, it's coming. But I mean, at the end, you know, once you have a great content that is, you know, it gives quality and it answers what people are searching, there's no need for you to afraid about algorithm updates, about product updates, about anything. And for ASO, I think two things. for the future would be like, I see for the product itself that the algorithms from both Apple and Google, it's also Huawei, but it's mostly Google and Apple. It will become, more sophisticated and, let's say, smart, because like at the moment it's not that smart and complex as, of course, Google or like other search engines. And also, I think, the skill set will become more popular. I mean, in some regions like US, UK, it's kind of common skill set, but for other regions it's not that common. And I see, in the next 1 or 2 years that this skill set will become more popular, and also the demand will be actually more requested actually.
Yeah, I agree. And especially when it comes to that last point with regard to, I guess you're referring to the fact that some local markets are easier to compete and are easier to dominate, let's say. It's something that we have definitely seen with our own clients as well. Like, you cannot really compare any market for that matter from an organic search standpoint with the US, for example. And I think that there are many untapped opportunities there in other markets. And at the same time, since there is opportunity, there will be demand and there will be need for skills. So definitely agree on that. Well, that was all very insightful. Dimitri, I want to thank you very much. But before we go, could you please share a quick call to action for our listeners? Where can people find more about you and get in touch if they want to?
First of all, I'd like to thank you. I wish we had more time. Like, the discussion is really, really good and insightful. So you can find me easily on LinkedIn. I'm very active. I have my personal website. To be honest, I haven't updated since ages, but I'm already have plans and actually some posts that are going to go live on the next upcoming months. So stay tuned. It's dimitrisdrakatos.com, and also at Twitter, like at Dimitris.
That makes sense. This was, I guess that the title for this episode will be something in the lines of from 0 to 2.5 million in organic visits per month. I hope that the next time that we will bring you on, it will be something from 2.5 to 10. Okay, let's see about that.
Yeah. Aim big and dream big. Like, that's my motto as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Best way to close this. Dimitris, thank you very much for being on the show.
Cheers.
Before you go, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor for this episode, Ahrefs. Ahrefs provides you with an all-in-one SEO toolset that does everything from rank tracking to backlink analysis, keyword research, and technical audits. The best part, you can now use Ahrefs Webmaster Tools for free to identify and prioritize optimization opportunities for your website, see all the keywords that your web pages are ranking for, take a close look at the websites that link back to and refer you in their content, and analyze other websites to find out what drives their rankings. Visit ahrefs.com/AWT and sign up for free.